Hello and welcome back to Jack Knives Reviews. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives. Let's go deep down under the surface with LongLegs. Agent Lee Harker is an FBI special agent hunting down a serial killer called LongLegs, who targets children with cryptic ciphers. The deeper Harper gets, the more she not only finds a deeper connection with herself, but something much, much darker. This movie had one of, if not the best viral marketing gimmicks I've seen in a long time. Probably since Paranormal Activity have I seen a viral marketing stunt done so well. Nothing was given away. Nothing was hinted at. Nothing was expected. Everything was, you gotta see it to see what happens. Which makes a lot of sense if you look deeper into the fact that this was made by Osgood Perkins. Not only making Black Coat's daughter, but also being the son of Anthony Perkins, aka Norman Bates from Psycho. Which makes a lot of sense, as Osgood Perkins in this very film takes a lot of filming techniques straight out of the Book of Hitchcock. So, you get to see an intense thriller with a dark edge, and yet also be an almost art house style detective true crime thriller, with a sprinkling of the unnatural going on at the same time. There was mystery, there was confusion, there was intrigue. Honestly, it felt a lot like Twin Peaks, only it was, in my opinion, a lot better than Twin Peaks, because at least the stuff was explained thoroughly in the proper way. Not in an over-the-top way, but in a realistic way. Micah Monroe plays Agent Lee Harker, and, well, it's not that she's not used to creeps and the unknown, having played the main lead in It Follows and being a side character in the movie The Guest. I was very intrigued how she was going to portray this role. And at times it seems as though she's playing a stiff character. But that is 100% intentional as you watch the movie going forward. And rewatching it, you go, oh, that explains it. So you're given just enough clues, but nothing too much until the finale, which is the proper way you're supposed to expect the audience to play it out. But the creep factor is all centered and focused around the attention of LongLegs himself, Nicolas Cage. And what makes this portrayal so good is not any sort of supernatural element. No, what makes this so good is the realism. Everyone, I don't care who it is, has experienced an unhinged person. Maybe not to the intensity that this character is, but a character who is just very aura, gives you uneasy vibes, uneasy feelings. Almost not a person at all. More like a creature. Just something that should be just taken away from you, like a rabid animal or a weird, disgusting, deformed thing. And that intensity is fully on display by Nicolas Cage's performance as LongLegs. The makeup effect is intentionally grotesque, and yet a little over the top, to the point where you can't ever really tell what he's doing, or what he's thinking, or what he's saying, or how he's acting. He's just there. And I think the creepier he is, the more it simultaneously weirds you out, but makes you uncomfortably laugh at how bizarre this whole thing is. Apparently, while they were filming, there was a point where they actually had Micah Monroe wearing a device to measure her heart rate for the marketing campaign, as she hadn't seen reveal of Nicolas Cage as LongLegs until the scene where she's in the interrogation room. She sees it, her heart rate jumps and skyrockets to the intensity, and he completely plays off her fear that she's giving him. Like the old saying goes, you're only as good at tango as your dance partner. Bringing this back to Psycho, this movie does have a similar switching of expectations as Psycho, but in reverse, and it kind of adds a lot of intensity. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain. I've heard certain people say that it's just okay, or they were expecting more, or blah, blah, blah. The big issue people have with it is it's too different. And yet, those same people complain about how the movie industry is so saturated with remakes, sequels, and requels, and prequels. And yet something like this comes along, a completely original IP, original story, original idea, original characters, and yet, I'm confused what you want, the movie-going public. This is what I expect. I want more films like LongLegs. I want more films that push the boundaries of independent horror filmmaking, and not just horror filmmaking, filmmaking in general, that allows people to attach themselves to the stories, ideas, characters, and intensity of films like LongLegs that can be more than what they expect, and just enough to keep them enticed. But the horror of this film comes from the feeling of unease. I haven't seen a movie in quite a while that has made me feel as uneasy watching it as this movie did when I first saw it. Maybe one other movie that I might talk about later. But this movie is so good at tackling the idea of the unknown, the known, the creep, true crime. There's so much in it. It almost feels like it would be like it almost feels like if you took a Silence of the Lamb approach, a script by David Lynch, and a filmmaker similar to Hitchcock. And I know I might be blowing this thing out of proportion, but it is really, really worth your time. If you give it an open mind and you really give it some time and thought to watch it, you might just be surprised at how good it is. Come back next time for more horror delights here on Jack-O-Ween.